There's more to armored combat, to bowhurt, to steel fighting, whatever you're calling it, than just being a fighter. So what I want to talk about today is support and community. And I had my good friend Chuck Vallis suggest this video to me. I was asking for new ideas, and he said, why don't you talk about the people who help make armored combat happen, who aren't just the fighters. I thought that was a really great idea for a couple reasons. One, they deserve lots of recognition for the effort and contributions and the time they put in, the volunteer time, but also how important it is to have that community, have that support system, and how that can help people enter the sport when they're not currently fighters. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Before I do that though, I'm gonna again talk a little about my new clothing company. So we've got 17 rounds here, the new t-shirt. 17 rounds is something you'll hear at the Knights Hall chanted a lot in between fights or during long fights when the rounds seem to go forever. 17 rounds, it's become a running joke. So we made a t-shirt for it. And also, a hat. See it? I think you can see it. Yeah. I'm really excited. I told you I have more merch than just t-shirts. We have hats, leggings, shorts, sweatpants, everything, kind of a whole store. So check it out, woodchucknight.shop. There's a link in the description below. Check it out if you want to buy something. It'd be cool. I just like making cool stuff, and I like having different gear and logos out there. So if you're interested, buy a shirt, help support the channel, and get something cool. But back to what we're talking about, support. So when I talk about support, what do I mean? I mean the people who help make events happen. And there is overlap. Obviously, many times fighters are also doing support roles. Or maybe fighters, different events. But in general, if you break it down, at least in the Northeast, at the Knights Hall, we have an amazing community of people who help with events. And some of those people never get in armor. They have no desire to fight. They are either friends or in relationship with other fighters, or they just like the community and they're helping out. And it's really important that you build that and encourage that, because that's what makes events happen. I can speak to this for armored combat in specific versus other sports I've been in. I've played a lot of other sports like basketball, did indoor soccer league, even playing paintball and things like that. And usually all you really needed was the team for most rec levels of that sports, right? So you just show up with the basketball, you show up to your league and you play against another team, right? Armored combat's not like that. It's an intensive equipment-based sport. You need a high level of support to have a community that works. So you're gonna need event runners. You need people to set up the events, to do the schedule, to do all of that. That's really important, right? You're gonna need people, organizers. I'm gonna make up titles, people who are gonna organize throughout the day, run the event as it's going. You're gonna need your refs. You need your line judges on the side there, depending on how big the event is. You need your head ref, so you have a reffing community. And then you're also going to need, and sometimes they're called marshals. I really don't care. Marshals, refs, the person who can give me a yellow card and sit me down if I cheat or tell me who won the round. You're also gonna have your squires, and the squires fall into a whole camp. I mean, you have squires who are also kind of armorers, who can repair stuff. You have people that are just helping, get you in gear. There's people who are bringing water by and ice, when it's 95 degrees out and you're sitting in armor. None of this sport happens without that community. So I think one, recognize it, right? So if you have people who are doing that and they're not fighters, give them the same props as the fighters. Give them the same encouragement, give them the same recognition. They're just as important to the sport as the person out there swinging the axe or sword. You can't have this sport grow if it's just people showing up to fight in their backyards. Like, it's not gonna be a real community, not gonna be a real event. You're not gonna have people travel. You need to have that organization. And again, I'm speaking primarily as someone on the outside for that. I haven't run events for armored combat. I haven't been in the back room planning this stuff. I don't know anything about the work that goes into it. I just know it's a lot. I have squired. So I've done that a few times where I'm helping, instead of being a fighter, I'm just helping out for the day. And I also think I'd say is the media team, if you have one. So if you have media, if you have a live stream, if you have Twitch, if you're doing YouTube videos of fights, if you have commentators, like all those are people that are volunteering their time in most cases to help grow this sport. I was lucky enough recently to do the commentating for one of the women's fights, the Witches versus Queens. Fight, and it was really great. I got to sit there and talk on camera for 2 hours during the fight, and I loved it. As you know, I'm going to talk on camera, so it was fun for me to do. But someone has to show up and do that. So it's really important, one, that you recognize those people and give them credit and props for it. Because what I have seen occasionally is I've seen people who don't realize how valuable they are in that role, and then kind of present themselves as fighters, and you know, when they're really not, they don't do a lot of the fighting, and they're always talking about it like they're doing it. And I think it comes from some of an insecurity, thinking that if you're not fighting, you're not part of the community. If you're not fighting, you're not important. That's just totally not true. Like if you're the fighter, that talk about being the fighter, right? If you're the support person, be proud of that. Be really proud of that. Talk about that. Talk about what you do with that, because that is just as valuable, right? There are events that I would not have completed if I didn't have great squires helping me out, either fixing my gear or encouraging me, or my corner man getting me back out there. You know, when I felt dead. All those people that are, you know, on the sidelines of the event are the people that make the event happen, so that you can have the, you know, the knights out there in armor. The other reason I want to talk about it is, if you're looking to get into the sport, that's where you start, right? Like this is a time-intensive, a money-intensive, and a commitment-intensive sport. You're buying very expensive equipment to go do this. Before you do that, learn about the sport. So if you're near a local team, if you're in the Northeast at the Knights Hall, if you're down in Texas, you know, with the Warlords, if you're, you know, out anywhere with any of the teams that are all over the country, go visit them, join the community, start working out with them, start training, but work events, volunteer events. You know, work them. Be a squire. Nothing's going to teach you more about getting armor on and off, and the you know, the strengths and weaknesses of it, and understanding where the exhaustion comes from being behind the scenes, helping people get their gear on, off, helping them understand if something breaks, how you fix it quickly. Like that's, you know, it's invaluable. Invaluable. You need to have that. So start there. Don't worry about where am I going to get my helmet, I'm going to get my sword. Like start being part of the community. Get your name known. Be someone that people go, hey, you know, hey Chuck, I need your help, and they know who you are, and they're going to call you over, and you're going to be part of that group. That's a really niche and wonderful community that we have here. So, you know, I can't talk more, I can't say enough about it. Like, I can't say enough about the need to do that. And if you do that, you will find out pretty quickly if, one, this is the right type of community for you. Do you like the people? Like, I like the people in this, I love this, but I'm sure some people don't. There are different communities that I wouldn't be a part of necessarily. You're going to learn all about the intricacies of it. You're going to learn how the events work. You're going to see the timing of it. You're going to see how, you know, it all works. And you're going to then gain that experience while you're training to decide if you want to start acquiring the gear to actually get in armor and fight. So, and maybe you'll decide you never want to. Maybe you just want to do maybe a duel once in a while. Maybe you want to, you know, maybe you want to do a little bit, but not on a full team. Maybe you just like soft kit fighting, and your community does that on, you know, we do that every other week here at the hall. Every other Sunday is a battle day, which is battle gear, we call it, or soft kit, which is, you know, foam weapons. We do that every other week. Maybe that's all you want to do. Totally fine. But if you're supporting and helping run even those events, it's going to build a community, draw more people in, it's going to grow, we're going to have more events, more fighting, more, you know, parties and all that stuff. And that's really what makes this sport so wonderful. It's not a pickup basketball league where I show up my friends I already know, I play my game, I go, I won, I lost, whatever, and I go home, right? Like it takes a commitment to do this, and that commitment reaps the benefits of building community. So if that's what you're looking for, you know, that's what I'd say, that's where you really want to start and do that. The only other sport I could think of that kind of, I imagine, has to be kind of like this would be like a race car racing, right? Like if you're like the driver of the race car, like you're the, you know, the rock star. If you're the knight, you're the fighter, you're the rock star, right? But I can't imagine that there isn't a whole team, even at like small events of race cars, that are helping build those cars and repair them, and a pit crew and all that. And that sport doesn't exist without, you know, with just the driver in his car. Armored combat doesn't exist with just the fighter in his armor. It exists because you have people helping and supporting. And I really think that, you know, if you're not doing that right now, start doing it. If you are doing it, take pride in it. And if you want to learn more about this, if you have questions, if you've never experienced an armored combat fight of any kind, reach out to me. I can point you in different directions of different areas in the country and in the US, and probably connect you with people in other countries too. But you know, start there, start local, find a community, go there, and then you will be part of something wonderful. And that's all I have to say for it. So start fighting, start training, start supporting. Thanks again for watching. My name's Chuck, the Woodchuck Knight. Like, subscribe, follow, all that wonderful stuff. If you have more comments or thoughts, let me know. And again, check out my store. We make cool things, and I like the shirts we have out right now.